So Tallulah was my grandmother's grandmother. And my wife and I had talked about if we ever had a daughter, naming her Tallulah. We have a son, so we named the restaurant Tallulah. Born and raised in Columbia. Went to high school right down the street. I lived here for the first 24 years of my life, and then moved up to DC, was there for 12 years, and then worked in a few restaurants in and around DC, so Maryland, Virginia, and DC, and then had the opportunity to move back to Columbia and open up Tallulah, which was something my wife and I always wanted to do, so here we are. Find the highest quality product you possibly can and don't screw it up. And to me that means, cooking in season, finding produce that is growing locally in season. It's a lot easier to find locally grown produce and locally produced meats than shipping stuff from the other side of the country or from who knows where. It produces a better product on the plate while also supporting, local communities, keeping the local economy going. So it's kind of a philosophy than just a business. We wanted to find something in South Carolina. There's not a lot of small grass-fed beef production in South Carolina that we were seeing from our distributors. So Chris and I just kind of got online and started, looking for someone who was doing, producing in a way that we thought would be nice to showcase on our menu. We like having that direct farmer contact rather than going, through a bigger distributor, which, everyone uses distributors, but having that personal relationship with the farmers is really nice.
Yeah, we've been in agriculture since I guess you could say the 1940s. My granddad was a farmer all his life, and my dad was a farmer all his life, and it still is. And then as I was getting out of college at Winthrop, I wanted to come back to the farm, but had to make a way of my own and make the farm pay my way. This was kind of a step in a different direction, and so in 2007 we started selling direct marketing grass-fed beef, and it has kind of grown and evolved from there, and we got into pastured pork, and then we offer some pastured chicken, pastured eggs as well. I think it's been a couple months ago, Tallulah contacted us, and they were looking for a good source of grass-fed beef, and we look to continue doing business with them, and it looks to be a good fit between us and them, and they wanted to come out and see everything for themselves. So we said come on, and we gave them a hayride around, and they got to see exactly, they got to see the animals that we're sending to them, and got to see how we raise them.
So yeah, the fermentation of the hay was really interesting to me, and the fact that he mills his own grains, there for the pigs and the cows, and he only sources, non-GMO from local farms. So just seeing the amount of attention and dedication he puts into the entire process, start to finish, was really nice.
Well, I think the most interesting thing was the amount of attention to detail that goes into just the subtlest things that they're doing on the farm here. Matt and Kelly were talking to me and expressing how much work they do to not just think about short term. They were preaching about the long-term preservation of their farm by using, modern methods of feeding and rotating. They move their cattle every 3 to 4 days. They rotate their pig pastures. Just the amount of care that they take into these animals, they treat them as if they were like their own, and they really show their love forward.
Yeah, with grass finishing beef, it's almost as much an art as it is a science, but there is definite characteristics of grass that we have to look at. So we want the beef animals to be eating the high sugar grasses, high sugar content forage, and high carbohydrates, and that's the characteristics that will allow that animal to fatten like we want to see them, and that's what gives. Hopefully, that's what sets us apart from other farms. Is we're using annual grasses to finish these beeves, and those annual grasses are higher in sugars and carbohydrates.
Well, I think the next time that I use some of Matt's products, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to how some of his techniques influence the product. It promotes better flavor within the meat. So the next time I'm dealing with their products, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to see how that is going to impact what kind of flavors we're able to achieve when we apply it in the kitchen.
It's really better for everybody, from the customer at the restaurant. I would think it'd be better for the restaurant. It's better for the farmer. It's better for the animals. If we can direct market these animals, and not have to go through middlemen, and that makes it a better economic situation for the farmer. And so hopefully we can set ourselves up, to be in a better position. And it's good that we have restaurants that are doing this, because they recognize the value of pasture-based livestock, and they recognize the need, to get animals back on pasture. And that's encouraging as a young farmer, because I've seen the conventional side of agriculture, and there's a lot to be desired there. So getting animals back on pasture is really the key, and these restaurants and this farm-to-table movement can absolutely play a huge role in that, in furthering this movement, and getting, they're actually have a direct impact on getting these animals back on pasture, because the more meat we can sell to restaurants like Tallulah, the more animals we're going to put on pasture. So that's a really good thing.